My woman brain just simply won't get it.
Yes. Yes. Pecking order.
Just 'cause I'm blind don't mean I'm dumb.
I kind of feel like that's more like of a sign of intelligence, though. Like,
Yeah, it's
What?
pretty
you're just gonna
manipulative.
stop asking. Like my husband, I don't know if he does this on purpose or not, but I've asked him about it so many times. I'll be like, "Hey, can you change the baby's diaper?" And he's like, "Yeah, can you get me a diaper and wipes? And can you grab the baby?" And I'm like,
Yes.
"You just outsourced your chore back to me.
Not
Why are you
outsourced.
doing that?" And I genuinely don't think he gets
Right.
it. He's like, "Yeah, I'll change the diaper.
Right.
Give me the things."
Yeah,
Like,
I don't view that as weaponizing competence. I think
no, but
that
I'm
as,
just
like,
saying, like,
I think they just don't
shortcutting.
get it sometimes.
Yeah.
He's just utilizing his resources.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
smart.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think that is a sign of high IQ. I'm with him. I'm going to go home and start working on that. But in addition to that, like finding things, women are better at finding places based on landmarks.
I also cannot subscribe
Okay,
to
that explains a lot about my mother.
Okay.
Growing up, my older brothers all played football. And so there's no GPS back then. And you get your maps, but then when you get to the little town or whatever, you got to find the football field. And she would always be like, okay, so you have to look for either baseball lights or football. And she would drive around the town until she found lights, like football lights or whatever, to find certain things. And I'm like, Mom, what if it's not in the vicinity of, whatever she's looking for? But she always would look in the vicinity of the football field or the baseball field for certain things. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Small town Oklahoma, though, I guess you can do that because she was successful.
I mean, I did that hell in bigger cities. Don't ask me where south is. Don't tell me about north, and I don't want to hear about west.
Go towards the
Go
Burger
right.
King.
That
and then
quick
turn
trip on the
left at
corner.
Sonic.
That's me. Like, that's crazy. But on the flip side, I wonder, are men better at that with the whole directions thing? Are they better at directions?
No,
Sometimes.
no.
Okay.
Depends on
I
the
can
brain.
confirm that. I cannot tell you how many times I have had to give directions to someone and say, okay, go east, and then, they don't do it, or go west or whatever. And then I have to say, turn towards the sun or turn away from the
Okay,
sun.
now I know where the sun
Wow.
is.
Because they don't get it. And I'm just like,
Turn towards the sun.
seriously,
And just continue driving straight into the sun, because I'm done here.
The moment somebody tries to give me directions, I'm like, stop.
Yeah, you zone
Give
out.
me the address.
Thank you.
ADD brain or something.
well, you can GPS it now, so you're good to
Exactly.
go.
We're in
I know,
24.
but what happens when your GPS starts tripping?
my
The
gosh.
whole world falls apart. Like,
Yeah.
They say like men don't like to ask for directions. Is that still a thing?
Yes.
Like,
I
don't tell me where to go. They will be lost. As
I saw a
fuck.
Because you're
TikTok
cutting
on
his
that
ego.
where the lady was
Is it an ego
she was
thing?
in the
I got this.
she was in the passenger seat and she was just like kind of smirking, and it says he told me not to be his passenger's driver, but he missed his exit like 4 miles ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
Like-
something like that before.
Like who can
What
relate?
is that? Like, instead of admitting I need help, they'd rather just waste an hour.
yeah.
It's because they're the man.
It's like, but I was right. If you just listened to me the first time, like,
that
I would have got us
equality
there.
piece.
Crazy.
All right, here's one that. Okay, off jump. Of course, people are gonna be like, of course. But when you listen to like the actual research, you're like, ugh, nasty. Women are more cleanly, but the research was done on number of germs on men versus women's desks.
I didn't know what you were about to say.
Well, but that was just desks. But it's if they're not cleaning where they're sitting at every day.
Well, they're waiting for us to clean it.
That's
I
nice.
had
No.
Woman's job.
yeah.
Yuck! That's their problem.
It's true though. So I had students who had this science class every year, and the teacher would have them go swab different areas in the school, and the student had to keep this chart and determine what had the most germs in the building.
Ugh.
And so aside from the water fountain,
Ugh.
the all the students were like, the teacher's desks.
Gross.
And they said it's because we eat at our desks. So there's more germs.
Oh.
That's what the kids determined on
But
their
the
own.
male teachers' desks were dirtier, I'm sure, according to this study. That's what her point was,
It
right?
it might be the
Ooh.
case. But women, I mean, we just clean more.
We're just naturally like, let's wipe this up. Now,
Yes.
again, we're generalizing. There are men who are
Maybe
very
we were
clean.
trained to be
And
that
what
way,
an
though.
unbelievable
Listen to this,
experience it
though.
is.
They gave us the kitchen sets. They gave us the toy mop and the apron. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
And the
no, the
babies.
boys can't play with that. That's for girls.
That's to prepare us
so
for
we
our
were
high pain
trained to be
tolerance.
the cleaners and to pick up after everyone. It's fun. This is what mommies do.
Yeah.
The brainwashing starts early.
Right, like they used to think that they were making improvements because, like, now the plastic infant doll you have can actually cry, and I'm like, why does this sound good to anybody? Now it can actually eat, actually poop, all these things, and I'm like, why are these the advancements in like toys given to girls? Like that's crazy to me.
Right. But ironically, one of the things is that it was a study starting with girl ages, not just women, but girls and females have more sophisticated computer programming skills and better 3D graphics,
Really?
which you would never ever
Yeah.
believe, because that is what boys and men are good at.
That's what they
Set that
told
attention
us.
to detail
Wow.
that we've got. That helps us with that. Okay.
Yes, to go find the keys.
Yes.
And change the diapers and make sure that he has lunch ready.
I'm starting
Detail.
to wonder if I've also got an XY. Like she is not subscribing to me. Oh my god!
I'm very androgynous too, so trust me, I have a hard time. I have a hard time with all these conversations, but I feel like there's a reason for everything. I'm getting an open mind, trying to genuinely. I have been trying to look at things from men's perspective, like not just like we're better, but why they feel so frustrated, why they feel like they have to prove these things to us, to feel valuable. I am trying to look at that perspective, not just they think that they're better than us, because clearly the men of the world are better, because they actually have rights in all the countries in the world. Yeah. So additionally, women have better immune systems. They believe it's linked with estrogen. So
We also probably take our vitamins more too.
Yeah.
attention to
vegetables.
details.
Exactly.
We remember.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to stay alive to
Memory.
keep mankind going.
Right.
Also, women handle stress better. They believe that is linked with the oxytocin that aids in women being more calm under stressful circumstances.
I thought that was just the trauma.
Ta-
Females? Okay.
Now,
Sorry.
I feel like I can get like worked up, but then again, like when the true chaos happens,
Yeah.
like women are like,
Lock-in mode.
yeah. I mean, men are, again, we're generalizing. There's a lot of men who can jump on it, but there's also a lot of men that freeze.
Well, we like to help. And women are just innate helpers, right? So when we're in a stressful situation, say somebody passes out or whatever, like we can delegate. You go call the paramedics. You go do this. You go do that. Whereas a men would be like, they want to fix the problem, but their brain is probably thinking, okay, I'm not a surgeon, or I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to, you know what I mean? So I wonder if that's why, because we're just automatic helpers.
The next thing on the
Fixers.
list is multitasking.
Yeah.
There you go.
We can handle it all. We can handle it all. They can handle those three things.
If it's on the list.
And a couple others.
Man, what an unbelievable experience it is.
Right? So unbelievable. Additionally, here, this part, I was like, is that right? I'm going to go get me a new doctor. Women are better doctors. They make less mistakes and they adhere to guidelines.
Interesting.
Color me shocked.
They don't kill their patients as much.
Oh my god! Are you
No.
serious, or was that a
No,
joke?
no, seriously, men doctors have more mistakes, more medical errors. Probably because
gosh.
they're probably because they think they know everything.
Right. They don't care.
Probably.
Wait a minute.
And And we're like,
Pride
check
comes
once and
before
check
fall.
twice.
Plus,
Yeah.
the whole list of all the other thing in business that women have. Women and doctors still have those things, you know? Empathy, compassion, all those things, right?
Okay.
Okay, when you're talking
Yeah,
about
we rock.
doctors, though, I don't know.
You're so,
Why, you had a bad female doctor experience?
No, not necessarily, but of the male and female doctors I've had throughout the years, the male doctors have been more sympathetic, more
'cause you're so
more
pretty.
gentle with. You're so sweet. More gentle with things. The females
That's
are like,
sad.
"Girl, you're fine. Move on."
That's
you know what I
because you're
mean?
prettier than them.
No.
That's sad.
I've heard that about female
have
doctors
too.
where they're like, no, you're good. Like, keep it moving. But, okay, so I have a male primary care physician. He is very empathetic. I remember I went in one day and I had an appointment for something else, but I was like, I think I broke my toe. Like, can you look at it? He was like, let's go get an x-ray. It's all good. You could have just looked at it, whatever. Very empathetic. He'll listen to me, but he doesn't act. Like, I've had to go to him a bunch of times saying, hey, I've got X, Y, and Z wrong with me. I've got X, Y, and Z wrong with me. Like, I'm not my normal self. And he doesn't act. Whereas, and again, she's a pediatrician, but my son's pediatrician will listen. She will apply her knowledge. She will explain. And if she's not going to act on something, she'll also explain why. And I think that is more appreciated than somebody having empathy
Yeah.
for whatever the heck I have going on.
So-
Unless
I
it's a
agree with
girl doctor, I don't know.
But I do think there is a lot to like your looks. That's terrible to say, but like cops pull you over if you're a crying female, they'll let you go. Like, and if you're
That's
a
everything
certain
in
body
life,
type
though.
or
You
looks
have
like-
Yeah,
an
that's everything in
advantage
life.
if you are good looking, and that's male or
Yeah.
female.
And that's
Equality!
terrible.
A lot,
Equality!
a lot of it's culture,
Yeah.
right? What do we put our priorities on? You know, what's important to us, and so culturally,
It's also biologically because social psychology, they have watched, without telling people what the study is, they
Right.
will look at, the participants will look at more beautiful, perceived beautiful people, and they'll look at them longer.
Yep.
And so you just naturally are drawn to the aesthetics and the outward appearance.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily something, even at starting at children. So it's just kind of innate.
Yeah. They say it's like 60% how you look, 30% not even what you say, but how you say it. And then, like, the last 10%, I think, is actually, like, credibility.
Yeah, I think I've actually heard that.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
I can see the appearance thing though, because when I was a child, if I saw a man all tatted up, I was scared of him. Like when I was a little girl. It's because I had not been around people with tattoos at that
Right.
age. I was so little.
That's scary.
And then as I got older and I was around more people with tattoos, I was like, oh, that's cool, man. You know, you just, I don't know. As a
What
kid,
an unbelievable experience it is.
So, additionally, women are better drivers. And if you don't believe me, call your insurance company and ask.
someone please tell my husband that.
So, men drivers are
Women, but as Amanda,
77% more likely to die in
I'm
a
not.
car accident than female drivers.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
I just heard the opposite.
Men.
Wait, what?
No, men. That's why men's insurance costs more, especially when they're younger, when they're
Yeah.
just
Is it like a
house
seatbelt thing, or because they're causing more
Reckless
I think
accidents?
they're more
Drivers.
reckless. Yeah.
They are. There were additional statistics. I didn't write them down.
I was told as a
I read the
teenager
opposite.
that if a man has a wreck, it's going to be a more serious wreck, whereas when women get in wrecks, it's always like little fender benders.
Maybe that's why this is referring to actual death.
I've heard
Yeah.
that like men tend to buy bigger cars, so that in a situation with a woman and a man in an accident, the truck's probably gonna cream the other one, like that small little Kia. But that's why females more often get hurt in an accident.
Well, the actual article, again going back to thoughtcatalog.com, that pulled these from actual scientific data, said that women are better drivers, but I'm pretty sure
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
they're definitely they have to be safer, or females would have higher insurance premiums. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
this is true.
So, additionally, Women make better cops. As a matter of fact, there's 2 countries right now that are switching their forces to be female dominated because women are superior psychologically, better with communication and negotiation skills while handling volatile situations. Shocker.
That's awesome.
Okay. But
Man, we rock.
we were. Look, this is what I think. Imagine if you had to pick one sex to just completely wipe off the face of the earth, which world would be better? I mean, how many women are out here like starting wars for the most part, right? How much violence? Because, I mean, maybe it's the testosterone that eggs it on. But if women are better at all these things, an all-female world just seems like it would be much more likely to be a utopia than all men. I think all men, well, look at China, because they had the one baby and they all wanted boys, and they got issues, okay? And they have, first of all, they're sexually frustrated, okay? They don't have enough women to go around. There's not enough wives for men. They're kidnapping women. They're being violent. Women are getting raped. I mean, that's the kind of world that you're looking at of all men. I don't think that would be the all women's world, okay?
So I like to, well, I don't like to, but I assume that men are the main perpetrators of crimes. So would you happen to have a statistic on who's committing more crimes? Because I want to say men, but
I don't have the exact numbers,
Okay.
but I did read that men do commit more crimes.
Okay.
I
Well,
feel like women would get caught less.
oh, yeah. Based
on the statistics, you're already cheering, you
Right. Yeah, you might be right. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Women make better students. So they're better at acquiring and retaining knowledge. And men are more likely to quit. That's why women are the ones that are graduating college more and more right now. Women are better with money. Women have higher returns on investments. And that the belief is that men take bigger risks because of their testosterone, which means to bigger losses in the long run. So those are just some of the ways that women are better than men according to science. And you know, like, the list goes on. We all know that. But despite the fact that you cannot deny that a female in general is an amazing creature, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You cannot deny it. The things that females can do on a daily basis. That, I mean, you give a man those tasks and they're like, I don't know how you do it. You know? Like, they are just baffled. But despite that, we still have, tell us, Marissa.
Injustice. Inequality, unfair treatment. I mean,
Let's hear it.
I mean, just because we had a women's rights movement in the 60s and all that, it doesn't seem to be having much change. Women are still more common. Our household items cost us more money than
the pink tax.
stuff.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Just like socks.
Yeah.
A 10-pack of socks for women will cost more than for men.
Yeah, and the men's deodorant works better,
Right,
apparently.
but we're paid less.
It does.
I'm
does.
switching to men's deodorant.
I'm
I've
not
used it.
ashamed. I've been using men's deodorant for like 5 years.
Because
Yeah.
it's stronger and it's cheaper.
Better.
It's
Absolutely.
cheaper.
But then
ridiculous.
women make less. Even like girls' toys cost more, girls' accessories cost more than boys, but women get paid less at the same job. Like, unfair. The pay gap, we all know about that.
It's actually 82 cents on the dollar
Yeah.
today is what the average woman makes for the same job that a man is doing.
I read something specifically about women of color and Latinas, like 21 and a half months work, right, for a black woman. She would make as much as a man who works for 12 months. Like, the same job, same qualifications, but because she's female
Right,
and
it's
black,
okay to be offended.
21 and a half months.
It's
it would take her
ridiculous.
that long to earn the same amount he would earn in 12 months.
I feel like we don't have
That's
enough
the
time
pay
to
gap.
talk about this because my brain is like, okay, is it because men have all this testosterone and they're negotiating their salaries, or is it because men are oppressing women and not paying us what we're worth? Because, like, I've probably been hired by more women in my life than men. Like, I have so many questions.
I think men are more gutsy to push for more money. I know someone
Right.
who entered a position and was being paid like 60,000 or, you know, between 60, 70,000, and somehow within like a year got them to pay him over 6 digits for the exact same job. He didn't add hardly anything to his job description, but somehow he got it. And I think it's men are more gutsy to push for that, where we're like, oh, well, if we do that, there might be recourse or, you know.
This next point was corporate hiring processes put women at a systemic disadvantage. Because of sexual harassment and wage gap, we would be a lot less prevalent, or it would be a lot less prevalent if there were women in the management roles. So why not hire more women? It was talking about the bias and in a women's resume being passed over in favor of a men's during considering executive positions, and like why is that they just automatically choose them higher because they're the male candidate.
Yes, so speaking on that point, 26% of C-suite executives are women, although 80% of Americans say that they support gender equality in the workplace.
Wow.
This kind of ties into what we talked about in the last episode. There are more women in the workforce than there are men.
Yeah.
But in positions of like, you know, higher
Leadership.
management, executive positions, there are more men than there are women. Women are also more educated in this day and age than
And apparently we have some pretty great, fantastic, amazing business skills that make us more successful in business and in our own businesses.
Yep.
But, you know, we're not looking at that. No.
Maybe that's why so many women own their own businesses. They don't
Right.
have to work
That
for anybody
too.
else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But even then, investors are less likely to help women entrepreneurs than males. Yep. And then women are minority in the news media. They're a minority in Hollywood. They're paid less. Minority in executive suite, CEO jobs. Women are also, less, which is interesting. You said the tech jobs they're better at, but they're actually minority in that sector. So even though they're better at it, they're still getting chosen less often.
That's interesting.
Chosen.
This was specific to computer programming.
Okay. So women enter male-dominated industries, and the pay decreases. Like the more women they hire, they don't want to do that because the average pay of the industry tends to drop significantly over time.
I'd like to see the statistics for those careers in which, okay, how many are actually applying. So let's face it, we don't have the same number of computer people that are females applying as we do males. So I'd like to see the statistics for how many are applying and then how many are being hired and compare those as well. That would be an interesting study.
And then we're talking about household duties. Women have reported that 54% of women take maternity leave, while just 42% of men take time away from their jobs. Women are taking 10 times as much temporary leave to be with their newborns than men do. Often, okay. Well, I was going to read
like
this
that's
about
an unfair
house
statistic.
chores. Sorry, I was going to read about women do more household duties than men. Like on average, 16 hours a week, and men only 6. Like it's just automatically we just take caregiving roles, and it's put on us more often. 50% of women are caregivers for their families than the men. Like if someone gets sick, the woman's going to take care of them, or elderly.
Worldwide, women are deemed worthy for domestic roles, including caregiving, housekeeping, and always in a position subordinate to the men in the house.
Right.
Oh, that's like not just America. That is predominant what happens in the world. But women in business, they refer to it as a motherhood penalty. Like even whether you have kids or not.
Motherhood penalty.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I've heard people actually say, well, if we hire the female, she might get pregnant, have kids.
Yeah. Leaves
Yeah.
in 9 months. Or, you know, like they were actually considering that during the hiring process.
Yeah.
And that
Which
doesn't
is
surprise
illegal,
me.
by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just want to make sure that everyone is aware.
It is.
If that got out, they could be sued,
Yeah.
and they would lose if there was evidence.
But even being a was that me? My bad. Okay. Even being a mother, like you go on maternity leave, 12 weeks. I guess if you're lucky at this point, I don't even know. And then you come back into the workforce. Things happen when you're gone. Like the world doesn't stop. Like you can miss promotional opportunities. You can miss advancement opportunities. One of my peers, she's been in her role, I don't want to lie, but I think it's maybe 5 years. And I know this is something that like sits heavy with her because she's talked about it a couple times. She's gone on maternity leave twice and she's been in her role, and she feels like she's behind where she should be as a benchmark because of that. Because, I mean, I'm in sales. So if I'm not putting leads into my pipeline for 12 plus weeks, more if I'm lucky and get to take more time to be with my child, like I'm starting from scratch when I go back to work and having to rebuild a book of business over X amount of months. Like, men don't take as much time off work, but also I don't think men's like leaves policies are the same as women either. Yeah, it's just it's completely not leveled there.
Right. And then
No, it's not.
It's also saying women are far more likely to be victims of human trafficking, sexual assault, harassment on the job, in the military. Women are greater risk of rape and domestic violence. Like, we are still the victim. Like, everyone's like, well, stop acting like a victim. Like, we fucking are. Like, stop treating us like this.
Yeah, I don't have the statistics on slavery today, but for anyone who believes that slavery is not alive and well all around the world, it is rampant.
Yep.
And it is by far women and children, and it's often for either sex or for work.
Yep.
Very few now don't, there are men who are also enslaved. I learned about it through researching like romance scammers, and apparently like something they do in other countries is they will take a man to be like a slave, and he'll have to go and build fake relationships with women for years.
Wow.
With the intent of them feeling like this is real and they trust them and they get to take all of their life savings. And if they don't do it, if they don't play this role, then they threaten to kill their family, their loved ones. I mean, so that is a form of slavery, obviously. So I don't want to say that men also are not slaves still to this day, because that is also not true. I mean, especially like, hey, you need all those nice metals, for all of these batteries and fancy cars and fancy phones. Those people are not getting paid fair wages. Like, quality, don't even get me started on all the things, from avocado farming to chocolate to, like, it's really sad that they're across the board. There are still a lot of people that are taken advantage of. But by far, no comparison, women are at the top of that.
I've lived in countries where women have been seen as a commodity in some way, because if you have a baby girl, you can sell her. You can send her into human trafficking, and then you have more wealth coming into the household. But then there's also countries where it's like, oh, well, you have to have a son because he has to help with the farm work. But like, yeah, I saw in China where the orphanages were overrun by baby girls because they didn't want the girls. Because if you can only have one child, you want a male. Like,
Not as strong.
Yeah, they're being sold into human trafficking. They're being abandoned. It's awful just for being female. Yeah.
So we have to wrap it up. But I want us to, just hearing all the things that women are amazing at, right? Like some things we might not have even thought of. And also hearing like how inequality is still so rampant between the sexes in America, despite the fact that we can do many of the same things, with the exception of, the physical strength and, the body and all of those things, right? Take that out. But women are amazing. So let's, we talked about how we are equal in value. We might not be equal in strength. We might actually be better at more things than men. Let's keep it real, but that doesn't make us better as far as value. Okay? The world would probably be a better place if there were only women versus only men. Okay? I would bet all my Bitcoin on it if I had Bitcoin. I'm just saying. But women are, we bring the same value. So as we close out, can you guys share any closing thoughts you have on why we should have that perceived value in society? based on the things that we talked about today and any other thoughts that you have on the things that we talked about. So I will go ahead and start. Yeah.
I'm just the one that gets to start it off.
Cause
I think it's important to remember that, God gave each and every one of us different qualities that we excel in. And my strength may not be someone else's, but that doesn't mean that we aren't just as valuable. And I think comparison is our worst enemy, and that it's important for us to understand that.
I like that. Do you want to go, Tracy?
Oh, yeah, I'll go. I really like what you said, Amanda, because regardless if, what I was going to say is that growing up, obviously, I think if you navigate this world as a young adult or a young woman, you kind of know where women's place in society, as much as that burns to say that, is. But I think it's a little eye-opening to actually sit down and talk about it, and, hear the numbers and what are the things that science says that we are good at. And so I don't know, that just brings me a great sense of pride, because I think it's one thing to, like Amanda said, like understand that we bring intrinsic value. We're all different. My strengths may not be yours and vice versa. However, if science is telling me that I'm good at this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth, I don't know, it's a bit of an ego boost. So if you're a woman out there and you're listening to this, you take that ego boost, because you can do it all, and science backs that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. You want to go, Marissa?
Did you go yet?
No. I'll finish with her.
I was just going to say, we were all created equal, and that's what gives us value, our maker. Like a little girl with a teddy bear, it might be trash to you, but she values it because she owns it, and those are her memories, and that's precious. Mm-hmm. So like, you can't determine a human being's value based on their gender, their color, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's who made that, who values it, who loves it, and that's God. And that's what determines someone's worth. Just because they exist, because they have breath in their lungs, and it's the breath of God. So it doesn't matter if I'm useful to society, if I contribute to the household, if I'm good enough at this job or that job, or how much money I make, and what body parts I have. We are equal, we are human, and we are to be loved and treated that way. So
I'm feeling it. Jasmine.
This whole conversation, I've been thinking about how, me personally, I've never felt like I've been looked at less than because I'm a woman. So I don't know if I'm just completely oblivious, because I am a lot of the time. But I was thinking how I would like to put this conversation in like a time capsule and look at it in 50 years, because I think that similar to Black people, women are an oppressed species, and it's just been systemic, and it's going to take time to catch up. So maybe there's people higher up really trying to hold us down, or maybe we were just held so far back that we haven't yet caught up. But I do think with all the conversations that we're having around equity in this day and age, and all the advancements women are making, and this generation of women raising young men, like I think this conversation would be totally different decades from now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
So I will just finish. My personal last thoughts is that if you are currently dating or looking to date, I think it's important, because, we love to talk about relationships on this show. You know what I'm saying? It's like our specialty. But you should look for somebody that treats you with respect and dignity, and is willing to communicate back, and is willing to treat you like you're valuable. I think that it is so easy for women to settle, whether it goes back to that inherent, like, you're less than, you're not good enough, you're down here and I'm up here, and that's what's ingrained in us from birth. It's easy to walk away feeling like you don't have that value, and you don't have the right to demand equality in your home. Okay, we can't change the world. Through time, we're making progress, but you can decide what type of home you're going to have. And so you are the one person who can decide who you choose to commit to, marry, have children with. And so if somebody is treating you like you are less than them, I highly encourage you to take a look at that and reevaluate if that's how you want to spend your life. And if you're in a bad place because you are being treated in a terrible way, because let's keep it real, that happens every day in America. As always, there is a crisis counselor on the other line waiting if you dial 988. And there is someone available to talk to you, especially if you're in a very dark place. And with that said, I am so grateful that we are amazing women. And I do want to give a shout out to all the great men in the world, especially in the United States. There are some amazing men who build the women and their lives up, and support them and love them and provide for them and protect them and all the things that a man traditionally, what we're told they're supposed to do. They do those things, but they do it in a way that also truly honors the women in their life. And so for those men, we just want to applaud you for that and keep up the great work. So another episode in the books.
What an unbelievable experience. What an unbelievable experience it is.